So there's a lot of content out there that will tell you what to expect when moving abroad, how to prepare for moving abroad. I mean, I make this kind of content all the time. But when you leave behind everything that you've known to go live someplace that's completely foreign and completely different from everything that you've known, honestly, there are some things that you just won't be able to fully understand until you have experienced it. But I still think that it is helpful to know some of the experiences that others have gone through just to have that awareness of what you might face, not just from a logistical standpoint of like moving things and budgets and like the logistics behind moving abroad, but also just like the internal changes and the emotions that come with being in a different country and living outside of your home and making a new home, whether that home be the world or a specific destination. So, today I want to talk about some of the things that I wish someone would have warned me about before moving abroad. And I actually journaled about this the other day, so occasionally I'm going to be looking down at my notes. But the first one that I noted that I wish someone warned me about was when it came to my stuff. As Americans, I feel like we are definitely trained to be very materialistic to an extent. Consumerism is a big thing. I mean, this is not a secret at all. And so usually there's a lot of stuff that we're parting with. So even though I didn't bring all that stuff with me, I do wish someone would have told me to just get rid of it. And this is what I mean by like, sometimes you just have to go through it because I think even if someone would have told me, get rid of all your stuff, like you're not going to need it, you're going to move abroad, you're going to love it, and you're not going to need the stuff or even have room for the stuff, right? You're not going to want to take all that stuff with you abroad. I probably still would have put it in a storage unit, but if I could go back and tell myself something, it would be like, girl, don't even leave it. Like, it's not a matter of just leaving it in the States. You just need to just get rid of it. Like, it's stuff that you don't need. And where you're going, it honestly can't even come with you. Um, because I did waste a lot of money on a storage unit, saving stuff that I couldn't even have told you was in there, like completely forgot about. And then it was a lot of just time and energy that went into cleaning out that storage unit on top of, the money that had been spent over the years of just keeping stuff. So yeah, I think that would have been the first one. These aren't really warnings, but things that I wish people have would have told me before I moved abroad. So the next one would be I wrote, travel changes you. And in order for that to happen, you have to endure uncomfortable moments and even break to become the new version of yourself. I think that might speak for itself. I think a lot of people go into it knowing that, especially if you've gone on vacation, if you've traveled abroad before, you come back a different person. Like your eyes are opened up to different things. You've had experiences that just have changed the way that you view the world. But I feel like that escalates times like 10 or 20 when you're actually living abroad, where it's not even just like a period of time per se, but it's like it's your lifestyle. It's a part of you that is becoming into this person. And so a lot of that requires like I said, breaking you in order to become the new version of yourself. So it's like releasing things that you've always believed or being challenged in ways that have never been challenged before, and being stretched. And it's just a process. It is really a process of like releasing the old you to become the new you, and it's not comfortable because you're also like it's uncomfortable internal changes while you're in a place that is foreign and completely new and different that you're also having to adjust to. So yeah, I think knowing that travel changes you is one thing. Knowing just how much traveling or living abroad will change you is another. And again, it's something you'll have to experience to really know it, but it's good to know going into it. So when you're in the thick of it, you can like be like, oh no, I knew this was going to be it, and now I'm feeling what that actually is. Like I'm putting the feelings to the words that I heard spoken to me before, or the warning. The next one is you will lose friends. Friends, I use that loosely, who were in your life solely because of proximity. Yeah, I went through this early on in my travels. I think even before I left, I think just sharing with people who I thought were close friends, that I was leaving, and I was really excited to go. Like, you'll always have people that will try to instill fear in you and discourage you from going. And I did have some people who were like fearful, but it was more like, I guess because I was so sure of what I was doing and so excited to be doing it that their fears couldn't really be projected onto me, but they were expressed to me. And I was just like, well, all right, hopefully you can come visit me and like see for yourself. I don't think it's going to be this way, but thanks for sharing, your insight and your perspective on things. So I didn't have to deal with that. And I think too, just like my upbringing and the family that I come from, like my family all lives in the States, but I have been exposed to traveling and moving to new places, and like that wasn't something that was foreign to me. My childhood was literally growing up in different places around the US. So the aspect of moving somewhere new wasn't different. It was just like that added element of it being like abroad, like outside of the US. But yeah, when sharing this with family, they were kind of scared, but they were happy for me, happy to support me. Sharing this with some friends were surprised. And I think those that were the people who were really truly my friends, this is where like the distinction came in, because I feel like they may have been like surprised or like just it was just something so different, but I could still tell that they were happy for me, versus other people who I thought were friends. Their response was more of either like I said, expressing their fear about like, how could you do something like this? Like, aren't you scared to go all by yourself? Like, oh my gosh. Or it was like, I don't know, you can always tell the difference between, or you can feel the difference when someone is like being genuine. So it almost felt like this, like, I don't know, this false sense of happiness. So like I'd have people like celebrating for me, but it wasn't really, I don't know how to put it into words, but you can feel fakeness. Like you can feel when people aren't being 100%. And yeah, I definitely felt some of that before I left. And then it became it became completely clear when I did move abroad, because suddenly those relationships like dwindled and they fizzled out, and not necessarily because I wasn't trying to, still maintain these friendships. I would reach out to people and call people and try to stay in communication. And there was even one incident where like I was expressing to someone, how happy I was, being in this new place, the things that I was excited about, or I was trying to. And the whole conversation just kept diverting back to like their circumstance, or like things that they were unhappy with, and like literally dominating the conversation. And the only way that I could like, how do I put this? There was no sense of curiosity about where I was, like, or like how I'm doing. Like, not even forget being abroad, just checking in on me, like, how are you doing? How are things going? It was just an opportunity to rant about like the unfulfillment that they were feeling in the current time. And friendships are, I don't want to go into too much details, but relationships are tricky, right? You'll go through like ups and downs with people. So there are certain times where, you do need to be there for someone, and maybe they're not, the state of life that they're in doesn't allow them to have the full capacity to show up in the way that you need them to. So like that, in a different circumstance, that might have been the case with this. Like, I just needed to be there for this person. They couldn't be there for me, but this wasn't that. This had been like, that for me, this was kind of like the cherry on top, the straw that broke the camel's back, however you want to put it. Because it was evident that they didn't really care about me. And so, it just highlighted to me the distance, showed me who have been in my life when I was in the States that were really truly there for me and cared about me, and who I had been close with all those years or all that time, simply because we had always been in the same environment. So yeah, that was a long-winded way of basically saying you'll lose people that you think are really close to you, but sometimes it's just the proximity. And when you move abroad, it really does like bring that to light. The next thing I wish someone would have told me before moving abroad is that growth and change are optional. They're a choice. And so these things don't just automatically happen because you move abroad. It still requires putting in the work. It still requires opting in to be uncomfortable. It still requires sitting down, reflecting, doing that introspective time, and really just like wanting to change. So it's not like an automatic switch. I mentioned earlier that travel changes you, but you can be stubborn. Like you have people who will move abroad someplace and like still carry the old habits that they had when they lived back in the US, still face some of the same challenges and things that they were going through there because it it changes you, but you have to be open and willing to allow that change to happen. Or you can work against it, but it's usually not in your favor because travel will break you, as I mentioned before too. Okay, and then another point that I noted was that what's for everyone else won't always be for you, and that's okay. I think when I wrote this, I was really thinking about just different countries and destinations. I remember feeling so uncomfortable with having a firm stance against places that I didn't like because other people like them so much. And I just came to realize like not everywhere is for everybody. Like there are some places I'm gonna go and I'm gonna absolutely love. Like I love Colombia. I love Medellin. I like you all know this. I talk about it all the time, but I've met people who have gone to Medellin and been like, I don't ever want to come back here ever again. And I'm like, what? How? Like, what? How are we living two different realities in the same place? Like, I love it here, but that's just what it is. Like, we're all different people. We have different needs. We have different desires. We have different backgrounds. We have different baggage. We have different experiences. We look different. That plays such a big role into how we're perceived and how we fit into different places. And at the end of the day, like, that is really okay. So just know that, especially when you are planning to go visit a destination, move somewhere new, you'll get people who like rave about a place and you can get there and be like, I hate it here. And that's okay. Like every place is not going to be for you and it's not going to be for everybody. My next point is that grace, discipline, and resilience are non negotiables. I think in order to live abroad, you have to have all three, or I won't say you won't make it, but it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard. And I think the discipline and the resilience are two that naturally came easier for me, more easier for me. Easy doesn't sound like the right word, but they definitely came more natural to me than grace did. I don't know if that's because I'm from the States and I don't know. I don't know. Just the way that I am. I don't know. But I know giving myself grace is something that I'm still working on to this day. But it's necessary because things happen. I mean, life happens. I think all three of these are necessary for living life. But trying to do it and being in a foreign country, being places where you don't speak the language, trying to navigate so much newness, and not only the external newness, but again, talking about those internal changes that happen, the grace is necessary. It's so needed. Um, and then the discipline to carry through on the things that you say you want to do, the discipline to keep going even when well, that's resilience, to keep going even when it gets hard. But I think too, the discipline also really comes in when it comes to making your life abroad work. Um, we all know that you need to support yourself. The financial aspect is a must for life, but definitely living abroad, living in a country where you can't fall back on getting like government support or someone to you may not have family close by that can help or family at all that can help. So yeah, taking it takes discipline to really um, figure out like means of income and then putting it into works, making it work for you. And then my last one is that remorse and guilt will be part of the journey, but they are not the same as regret. Yeah. I think there have been times where I have felt a bit guilty. I don't know if guilty is the right word, maybe more so remorseful. Um, just being in the position that I am and living abroad and enjoying living abroad while knowing that so many of my loved ones are back in the United States, or just having to deal with situations. I mean, even something as small as like having the news in their face every day. I am in a place where I'm privileged enough to opt to not be around news for a long time. Like, I can go outside and no one's gonna mention anything to me about the United States, not here in Bolivia at least. So, just different aspects of like living abroad in that way, being able to like fully disconnect. Um, yeah, sometimes a little bit of guilt comes with that, especially when talking to loved ones and just knowing the situation and things going on. But I have no regrets for leaving and choosing to live my life in the way that I feel called to and the way that I desire. So I think my point is that those two feelings are natural and can very well happen in the journey of living abroad, but I rarely, if ever, hear anyone say that they regret doing it. Like even people who have moved abroad and moved back to the United States or moved back home from wherever they moved abroad from, because it's an experience and it's one that you only get. You only have one life to live, so you really only have one opportunity to really do it, and it's not one that you'd ever regret. So yeah, that's my little tidbit for today. If there are things that you all wish someone told you before moving abroad, if you're living abroad currently, or have lived abroad in the past, please do share down below. I would love to keep the conversation going. And if you're into things like this and want to just get more insight and resources on what it's like to make the move abroad and how you can make it possible for yourself, I welcome you to come and join me and my Facebook group over in the Women Digital Nomads group. You'll find the link for that down in the description box below. But all right, thanks as always for coming to my little TED Talk here on the YouTube universe. But no, I appreciate you for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ciao.